That'll wake everyone up. Hey, we're live. We're live on the 5 a.m. Master Scrum Meetup.com program. We got Scott Sampson here. We're just waiting for people to join. I figured I'd start it up to get everybody and start going, oh, I got to go join the show. I got to join the meeting. So apparently it's going out on the other side, which is great. See if I got any last minute registrations. Yep, of course, I got a couple more. Okay. Sweet. And approving. So there's the last couple of people approved. We got about 8 people that registered via Zoom so far. And the rest should be online. And we'll see if they join us in Zoom. I know a few of the people. I'm going to mute myself. Apparently we can hear. I know a few of the people. Okay, we're good. I can hear me on the social media. So we're good. We're live and all around the universe here, apparently. So that's good. Oh, you got somebody. There we go. Got 2 people better. Okay. And admitting. Got a couple joining here. Catherine's joining. And I think it's Marima. She's coming too. Oh, somebody else just joined. Michelle's coming on. Michelle Michael. See, I figured as soon as I went broadcast live, everyone would be like, woo. Hey, Michelle. She's quiet. Catherine, you're on, right? Oh, she left. She dropped. Let me see who's. Hey, Michelle, you want to say hi? Introduce yourself to the social world out there. We can't hear you. Okay. Oh, is she muted? Oh, hold on. I asked to unmute. Well, she muted herself. Maybe that she wasn't muted before. Shrada's muted too. You can unmute yourself if you like. Let me check here. Refresh. Your first 5 minutes to get a bunch of people that RSVP. They got everyone so far. Everyone's been approved. Yeah, just so everyone knows that we're in the social, just as we broadcast this out to everything. So we have a Zoom connection so that you can interact and join. And I'm going to share. Scott, do me a favor. Send me a message with the mural page, and then I'll put it up on the chat for Zoom. So we have the Zoom so you can interact with each other and people, the group, and everything like that. So people out there should got their RSVPs via Zoom for being approved that submitted, and then the first time we did this adventure, and it was kind of a little on the show, like so kind of up with the password RSVP kind of thing and everything like that, and I put that up. I'm gonna let. Do you want me to share my screen, or do you want to share? I'll let you share your screen. Yeah, sharing options. I'm going to make multiple participants just to make it easy enough. So you should be able to share your screen whenever you're ready. Oh, we got more people. David B is on joining. I guess everyone I shared, you should be able to see the link to everyone that I forward to everyone for the Mural app. I'm going to open up so I have. Nope, can't see it. Do you want me to share if I get it work? Do you want me to share my mural? Maybe have it in a different window or something. Oh, you know what? I should record the show. Well, we're already on the internet. I'm gonna just make an extra copy record so that we have it in case we want to play it back. So I'm gonna review, and then there we go. I'm getting in there. I can be the visitor. Oh. We'll see how long before my system totally crashes. And I'll send it to everyone. Like, try voting the whole thing or something. Oh, who can? Okay, I'm voting. Okay, you're good. Yep. And you may have to double check that you're not looking at the Zoom screen because that could be deceptive too. Like you thinking you're in Mural, but you're actually looking at the Zooms. Looks like you got a couple people now on there now, so that's good. Uh, you can verbal or chat it either way.
a regular basis and figuring out the timing and prioritization for what the clients, what the company can actually deliver, etc. They're going to be writing user stories or something similar, helping write those with the dev team or the product manager and product analyst. Sprint planning, obviously, they'll be involved with that. Teeing up those, the tickets and the work for the next sprint, covering that with the team. How do they do that? How do they determine tickets and the work for the next sprint? And are they actually thinking about sprint goals and trying to help them put those into place to make it clear for the team as to what they're trying to achieve for each sprint? Retrospectives, I'm going to take that feedback from the development team in retrospectives or anybody else in there. And how do they utilize that feedback? Do they act upon it? That kind of thing. How do they look to solve and make the team's life? Product management, the product, and that's the team up for success. And this person's going to be really focused on our customer, figuring out what their needs are. That meet with the requirements gathered. Are they speaking with the client directly or through another medium in between? And do they do it? They might be doing user research, so you could ask them about, hey, what methods are they using for that? What's their approach? And then once they get that data from the user research, how do they apply that? Does that go into their requirements? Where does that go and how is it used? How is it collected and analyzed? I think that ties right in with the requirements. And they also speaking with other groups, kind of like when I talked about the product manager, are they reaching out to and working closely with the product manager, the product owner, but also others, the dev team, are they working closely with them for clarifying questions and sprint planning, or outside of sprint planning, they're working closely to make sure requirements are written clearly so the developers know what to do and there's no rework or minimal rework. And other stakeholders, just like with the product manager talking with marketing, sales, and customer service, who are they reaching out to get that holistic picture for what the client wants and what the messages are to the clients and expectations. Quality assurance. And this part, this guy here, in the Scrum Master, talk to or discuss with quality assurance director, etc. What kind of quality metrics are they collecting? And what success mean to them? Are they trying to and I just mentioned test automation here. Talk to them about testing strategies? Are they doing, how much acceptance testing are they doing? Regression testing, other testing such as exploratory testing? And what's the percentage for a release and post-release? Test environments, that sometimes can be a topic that test environments can be tricky sometimes. I'll just say that. So, talking to them about that experience. What are they using to test? How is it easy to test in that environment, or are there a lot of different groups and people in there and data, and it's tricky? That goes along with management and stability of the test environment, and perhaps how you can help them with getting their own environment would be something you could discuss with them. And then finally, defect management. So for defects, and I'll even include bugs in here, although they're not the same thing typically, how are they identifying those? Are they prioritizing them based on the product manager and product owner's feedback that some things have to be done immediately versus maybe a month from now? A little long, but and how are they resolving those? And how is that going? That would resonate with quality assurance management. Any questions from the group at all so far? I see somebody flying.
With this, that works best with if the company is using SAFe, or you just individually as a Scrum Master, like the sole Scrum Master within the organization.
I was coming at it from just from the Scrum Master role, kind of agnostic of your approach, whether it's SAFe or other. Greg, you have a lot of experience with SAFe. Do you see anything that might lend itself more to a SAFe experience, a SAFe environment versus other?
As far as quality assurance?
Mariama, were you just talking about quality assurance?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
SAFe is nothing anything different per se, but there is more architectural discussion, like if you do in your PI planning, your quarterly planning, a lot of these items which should be brought up during that session too. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Mariama. And if anybody else has questions, feel free to ask it. And quality assurance tester, another group to speak with, right? Part of the quality area.
And hey, Scott.
Yeah.
One of the things is when we do these, is I think about the Scrum team, and the idea is that QA is part of the Scrum team too. So
yes,
it also may be you might think of it might be a separate integration test group sometimes with the larger deployments that might be out there also.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that, Greg. And that's the approach that I take, is all of these folks that we're speaking of are part of the team, if you will. But yeah, back to the culture. So I'm kind of like the product owner. Pastor here. To talk to them about, execution, again, defects. How is that coming back through? Is that a separate ticket type in Jira? Like, how are they approaching that? What's the priority, etc.? We talked about manual. Again, test coverage. How much is, and how much is meant it's not test, depending on what it is. Failed tests, defect tracking and dev follow-up. So are they, when something fails, are they going back to the dev or cyclical relationship between both groups so they can get their questions answered?
Hey, Scott, double check to see if you don't have any more people signing on late. Maybe you have some other participants.
Let me see here.
Maybe in the waiting room. Towards the bottom, usually.
Let me look.
Might be on the bottom of your screen, too. Like it'll say participants. Just click on that. It should show.
I'm trying to find that. I don't see where that is supposed to be. It's not popping up for me that I'm trying to
kind of double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the ability because I gave you hosting.
You gave me all the power.
Well, okay, let me do one. No, if I do that, I'll unhook you. So I don't want to do that. Anyway, they're too late. Gotta get here early.
I was looking to see if I could find the bar real quick. Let me see. Give me a moment.
You probably have a bunch of monitors, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. They're all hiding everywhere. Yeah, you might have escape full screen or something.
Let me do that.
I mean, you can see your screen.
Yeah. Anything like that. All right, I'm escaping. Nothing's happening, so I think I'm out.
That's okay. Just go back to what you're doing.
All right. Let's see. So, back to quality assurance here. Let me see. So, yep, we talked about the relationship between the testers and dev to make sure that's good relationship, and then feedback. Do they have feedback regarding the developer's work? So, perhaps there's a quality issue where tickets are being moved along before they're really unit tested, or other things. So I think it's always good to check in with the testers to see if they're seeing a pattern. Quality. All right, moving on to DevOps. Regularly with the DevOps group in their company?
Well, I used to be the Scrum Master for DevOps team.
Nice. That was Michelle. So, okay. Oop, there we go. Marva wants to come in. I just got an alert.
Okay.
So maybe I'm getting alerts, Greg, when folks want to come in.
Okay. She could hang in.
All right. So Michelle's going to keep me honest here, and but so I think the DevOps groups they're good groups to speak with as well. I've done work with DevOps groups regarding release retrospectives, working agreements with DevOps groups, and it's such an interesting area to learn about. And sometimes people don't realize they're the kind of the last stop on the train, if you will, for the release. So it's good to shine a light on them. So I included them here as part of the SMRVS, and the DevOps manager is up first. And Michelle, I invite any feedback you have on what you can talk to them about. but I have, their process. So the whole DevOps process from plan, build, test, deploy, and monitor the software. They're responsible for all that stuff, and that's a lot. People don't realize, but that's a huge part of a company's functioning as far as software deployment. They're also responsible for infrastructure. So, like I have listed here, servers, networks, the cloud. So a lot you could talk about there with different cloud products and what's happening. Automation, once again, they're another group that can really rely on automation to make their lives easier. And so you can talk to them about, are they doing that to build and deploy their software? And that would be part of the CI/CD pipeline. Security. I know that sometimes DevOps is part of, the information security groups at different companies. So they're trying to make sure that, vulnerability is being looked at, penetration testing, what are the access controls that are in place so that people can get what they need, but don't get what they shouldn't have or don't need, right? So they're responsible for that too. This good one here. So teamwork. Are the DevOps groups working with the dev teams to, again, have that cyclical back and forth relationship? DevOps is relying on the development teams to provide typically what they need for a smooth release. If that's not provided, the release might go a little bit sideways, and then people have long weekends. So it's good to have that relationship with the devs and make sure that the DevOps groups are getting what they need. So you can talk to them about that, how that's going. And it kind of falls into this one here, special instructions. So sometimes if a particular thing needs to be in a release, making sure that that's being provided on a regular basis somehow for each release, so that the DevOps folks aren't spending weekends trying to fix a release when something was missed that they weren't provided. Michelle, what feedback do you have? What have you seen in your experiences with working with the DevOps team? Does this resonate? And is there anything to add here?
All of that does. And I also have seen where DevOps person is embedded in a dev team. But sometimes, especially when they have special projects, to make things easier and get quicker turnaround. And sometimes that DevOps work can really pile up. And you have to wait a long time, like for a server build or something like that. So I've seen DevOps incorporated into the dev teams, and even sometimes architects. Architects more of a, not there every day, maybe every week or twice a week. But I've seen DevOps in the teams like every day embedded in.
That's great. That's a good approach to have those cross-functional teams. I think it speeds things up.
Hey, do you include like customer service in your DevOps?
Customer service, like
operation kind of thing.
Yeah, like a ticketing system where
people
put in, like a request. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, you got more. What do you got more? Let me see what you got more on the DevOps.
Let's see.
Card. This is not poker.
Here's the card.
Here we go.
So for the DevOps engineers, also another group in DevOps you can speak with. I mentioned infrastructure previously. You can talk to them about that. I mentioned continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline. How much of that is automated? Talk to them about that. Risk and downtime. And here's the like I was talking about before, rollbacks of releases, blue-green deployments, etc. Trying to avoid rollbacks, making sure everybody's communicating. Security measures. And I mentioned some of these before: penetration testing, vulnerability scanning. So Greg, it looks like I might need to add the service desk queue for issues, because DevOps groups can definitely,
Well, that was the original. That's always my debate. That's the original philosophy behind DevOps, and everyone does it CI/CD, but DevOps is development and operations coming together, right? And just one example, I had a group where the team, but the dev team had built a little button on their code to recycle or recache or whatever they had to do with the accounts. And I had mentioned as a Scrum Master to the operations group, could you use that reset button? Oh, you're like, yeah, we would love to have that reset button, you know? And it was just that conversation between the dev and the operations people to allow them to make the operations people's job a lot easier too. And vice versa, like setting up a system where the lessons learned from operations can get back into the development side, right? For stories and things like that to improve the overall process.
That is a great points, Greg. Thank you for those. All right, so it's time to move on to the developer team, the team of developers. That's with development management. So, this is more around planning, I think. So project timelines, how team members are allocated across the teams and the company, and how is communication with those teams and team members. What's team engagement and motivation look like? Are they collaborating well together? If not, why? And that's perhaps something you could help them manage or work with them. Conflict could also be talked about how that's, if you're in a shop, talk to the man and it's an opportunity for them to increase knowledge around agile approaches. One of my favorite technical, is it tracked and is it managed? Is it actually acted upon? And what are the steps to try to avoid technical debt with the team? Metric velocity, defect, others to put a couple of examples there that you talk to the development management team about. And training and career development for the team. Is there anything in place for them to develop themselves? What's that look like? Is there a need for that in some way? And that really could be just something as a excellence for development, any educational opportunity. All right. Developers. Some of the stuff you'll talk about in Scrum, but this, if you do meet with them individually one-on-one, sometimes there's more time to chat in depth about these things, in regards to their points of pain, roadblocks, any support they need, any challenges around tools or architecture or code that they see. Is code quality what it should be? Are there training opportunities or issues? Are they contributing to a positive culture on the not they're thinking about all the time? Some people may, but some people may not. So asking this question could bring some enlightenment there as to how they could foster that environment, a positive environment. Again, Agile, how is it working for them? Do they have any challenges? Are there any opportunities that you could take care of for them, at them about? And I do ask about career goals and aspirations. I think it's good because you want to learn more about them as a person, what their goals are, but you can also probably support them in some way through regular follow-ups and that kind of thing. If they want to, have somebody follow up with them on a regular basis to keep them on track with their own goals, you could do that from a, Scrum Master Agile coaching perspective.
I just recently had someone who just finished their CSM training or got their certification. So they were asking me about what do I got to do to be a Scrum Master. So it was, I gave some pointers what you can practice while you're in as a developer to get ready, even though you're not quote a Scrum Master, but you can gain and contribute like a Scrum Master would during the session.
Right. Okay. Let's go to the benefiting about all of these topics. Sorry, some you might recognize crap if anybody can name that game. But it's unlocked by talking to all these groups and asking them about some or all of those, topics. You're making sure everybody works together well, right, across the board. Yourself with those people, within teams, just trying to drive better outcomes for the product or service you're providing. You're also making sure that folks are aligned with the goals of the product manager, the product organization, the company, with the goals of the product. So everybody's on the same page with what they're trying to achieve. And it kind of moves into the next one too, making sure everybody's aligned with the goals of the organization, knowing where the organization wants to go, and the vision helps with knowing to steer the teams and the SMRVs in that right direction and help them get there. It also helps deliver high quality products that are easy to deploy, right? Going back to DevOps. You can also learn more about your customers. So, Scrum Masters might not get an opportunity to get out there and talk to customers that often. So talking with, the product analysts and the product groups and others, even marketing and sales, perhaps if you want to step outside of the SMRVs as I've identified them, could be good for the Scrum Master. Okay. More benefits. You can see how your company's value stream operates, right? Not only from the SMRV perspective, but just, I showed us very simple value stream earlier, but that can really be, and I'm sure people on this call have seen, like, it can really be blown out with a lot of different departments from customer request to customer fulfillment. And just learning about that will make you as a Scrum Master, I think, a better partner with everybody you work with. We talked about fostering collaboration, innovation, and goal completion. It also helps people be accountable for their work with clear goals. Folks can gain flexibility and responsiveness to client needs, other team needs, team members' needs. And be valued and appreciated. So put into an increase and maybe even finding out, if there are issues with morale, how can that be addressed? And finally, go ahead, Greg.
We'll do your final and I'll come back and I'll ask my question.
Sure. Last but not least, and I kind of alluded to it, you can just learn so much more about your company by talking to all these different groups and asking these questions. That again, you can just become this, kind of like almost like a super Scrum Master or a super Agile coach, right? Where you have a knowledge about every part of your company and you become very valuable to your company. So, and it increases your knowledge and keeps things fresh and exciting for you too. So I think that's a huge benefit for the Scrum Master as well. Greg, go ahead.
With all these Smurfs are running around, right? This picture in my mind, blue Smurfs. How do you avoid death by meeting? I don't know if you cover that in one of your slides or something.
I don't cover death by meeting, but I can respond to that.
That'd be cool. Appreciate that. What techniques do you use, right?
Yeah. So I try to not overburden them with meetings. So, you got to figure out the cadence that works well for them and yourself. For my personal approach, I try to meet with everybody once a month and talk to them about any topics that are obviously hot at that time, or any agenda they have. But I also have, a list of items that we also can touch upon, and what's going on in those areas. If I'm not sure if it's valuable to meet every day.
Yeah. But what about the people outside what about the people like outside the development group? So
yeah,
I notice a tendency when a lot of Scrum Masters decide they have to go to every meeting on the planet. And when you talk about DevOps people and customer marketing and all these people, they're like, oh, especially if you're doing safe, it's big time in safe. Mm-hmm. They feel like they have to attend every tech meeting, and if you're looking up, like I worked with a very large group that had like 8 different trains, 40 teams. And sometimes the Scrum Masters felt like they had to attend every daily stand-up or every stand-up, and they're invited to every one of them. So what, any thoughts on that aspect of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to prioritization. For the most, it's a couple of things. So the highest priority, or the most needed projects probably could use the Scrum Master to learn more about it or be there to guide the team. Mm-hmm. But you could also do kind of you could implement my approach where you're catching up with folks once a month. Okay. And so you can stagger it a little bit, but you're still getting, if you have your topics that you want to talk to them about, you can still get caught up to speed. So you can kind of balance those very high priority or much needed teams that need you where you need to be there. Mm-hmm. Or, if you're not there in the Scrum, meet with them on a regular cadence, once a month, twice a month, whatever works for the group.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
About 10 more minutes.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So once you put all of that into place, if you remember my very simple SMRV diagram previously, where I said you are here about because if you're doing all these things that we just went through, or even some of them, you are now here, and the arrows are going in between groups. You're in there talking to everybody, and then you see these circular arrows here. You can get these teams talking. Can anybody tell me why the "you are here" is so large? This dot. All right. Oh, Mariama, were you going to take a stab?
I was going to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to say you're the glue. However, you have a larger, it's almost like you're zooming out, if you will, to see the picture holistically. I mean, that's what it's come to mind.
Okay. Anyone else? Mariama's on the right track. I made that larger because by all these different groups, DevOps, quality assurance, having each other, you're building your status in the company partner. You're becoming like a larger, more important company growing. So I made sure this was expanded here to show that growth you're getting by doing this.
That's good. I thought you were doing it just because my eyes are getting old. But no, that makes perfect sense.
All right, so we're getting towards the end here. So thinking about your own situations, for the SMRVs we talked about, and I don't know if anybody is going to be able to do this. I was going to do a dot voting thing and try, but if not, we can just shout them out too. About what we've just talked about, what SMRVs would be most valuable for you to talk with tomorrow? Like, where can you start building those relationships to learn more about the company, learn more about where you could help out with those different items, build relationships. Let me see if I can set it up. SMRVS. I'm going to try to set it up and see if it works.
And as we do this, and Scott's doing great because he's going through this. This is one of the reasons why we do this meetup too. So if you want to do an interactive session, feel free to use the meetup group as a practice group for that too. Because there's always settings. I mean, you can be sound and links and all that kind of stuff. So there's always cases where it makes your life fun. And every one of these apps are different. You may be doing Mural one day, Mural, whatever. The next time, or you're doing a Microsoft product, who knows, right?
Mural or Miro or
Miro, yeah.
It doesn't look like the voting's working. So, does anybody want to volunteer who they think they might want to speak with in the future to build that relationship, and that could lend itself to? Ooh, I see a raised hand.
Yeah. So I am interested in discussing the stakeholder relationship. That was the stakeholder engagement. But I don't have a topic or idea in mind specifically.
Were you? Did you want to provide something about like the stakeholder relationship, or did you have a question about that?
No. In the future, talk about. I hope I got the question right. Was it? I was very asking about a mural board.
Yes.
Okay. Because we are running out of time, I thought that there is going to be a leftover topic that you would like to cover on the relationship management. So sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's okay. I was asking.
He has a Q&A at the end too.
I was asking on this slide, like we covered. Who would be most valuable for you to talk to in the near term? That was the question for the group. Mariama, you had your hand up?
Yes, it would be the product manager.
Yeah.
For me.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Just to get to learn more about the product itself and the vision and the focus.
Okay.
Besides the product owner.
All right. Anyone else?
I would even take them out on our list.
I can always include them, with the SMRV plus.
I was going to say both what Mariama and Greg said. So from the product manager to get more information on the product itself, and then for the manager of the developers, which we call them the engineering manager.
Okay.
Them. Because I notice sometimes I'm seeing that the product owner, which we work really closely with, is reporting in to the engineering manager. Yeah, so that can make a difference.
Okay.
Which is weird, I know. But...
Right. Okay, communication tips. You guys know these already, I'm sure. Listen actively, be open to feedback, work collaboratively with the SMRVs when you're speaking with them. Set up time on their calendar if they are amenable to that. That's how I approach it typically. There's no secret potion to doing that. I just ask them if we can set up time to talk about certain things, and normally it's a yes.
Yeah, one thing on that with calendars, just my own little trick is that my SMRVs that I know that I want to talk to, I actually stalk them in Outlook. I have their calendars in there. So before I even go ask them, so I already kind of know when they're available when I go ask the question. So
Nice.
I set it up. I look at my calendar, their calendar, kind of like, hey, I see Tuesday, you got a half hour. Is this something we could do? But I just look at that because if you ask the question, their calendar is totally booked, it just frustrates them. So I try to get that, or I'll say, hey, I see your calendar's like really full. Do you want to, I'll let you want to pick a time and set up a meeting, what's convenient to you. And then I'll hand it off to them to do that too. So just a little calendar trick that I have that I use.
Nice. And I forgot to mention the benefits when you use the SMRVS. What outcome do you want to get from it? Make sure they will benefit from it as well.
Yeah, get an agenda, or see, what you might want to talk about, what they want to talk about.
All right, we're at the end. We made it.
There you go.
Q&A time.
And anybody on social media, sorry for any technical difficulties, because it was kind of interesting for a while there.
I just want to say thank you, guys. Hope to see you again. I have to run. I actually have to go grab a birthday gift before the store's closed.
Oh, go to the
Perfect
store.
Gift. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
thank
Michelle. Anybody have any extra questions for Scott or the activity? I know you brought up stakeholders.
Thank you for end clap.
Yeah.
Alma, appreciated. This is my first time through this presentation, so thanks for sticking with me.
Yeah, one thing about stakeholders in this SMRVS is people can create barriers between you and the stakeholders, and it takes a while to break those barriers down because they're protective, right? They're of their domain. So even though you might want to have a conversation with them, they may, why are you asking? And they get really defensively questions and things like that. So it may, I would also advise team up too. So like if you want to meet with stakeholders, inquire with the product owner how they might want to handle that, or a product manager, right? And say, hey, well, we can do it together. Can I join you in a conversation? See how they do things and things like that too. So don't hesitate, that you don't have to be by yourself.
Good advice.
So,
hi, this is Moma. This is my first time joining.
Hey, welcome.
Meeting. Thank you. I think I should turn my camera. Yeah, this is my first time. Thank you so much. Scott, I couldn't tell that this was your first time running through the slides.
Thank you. That's good to know. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
No worries. It was great. So I am actually new to Scrum, so I'm not practicing as yet, but I'm very interested. So I was going through Meetup to see anything specific to as I came across this presentation today, and I quickly joined it. So this is good information for someone who's transitioning from 14 years of program management into Scrum.
Okay.
Definitely an interesting field. So I look forward to joining more of your talks.
Great.
Thank you for attending.
Everyone want to talk transition from project management to Scrum? We can put that. Yeah. Not to plug the 5 a.m. Master Scrum show, but there is a LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook podcast that will include this when I download it. So I'll make it into a podcast for people to, and I'll double check to see how the social media version showed up, because I think I lost sound there for a little bit. So I may repost it. So we got a lot of stuff out there, and ask questions on the Meetup page too. So if you have a
Sure,
question,
sounds
comment,
good.
or a topic that you're interested in, let us know.
Yes, and I'm also open to mentorship. So looking for mentors, anyone who's available, I am open. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything else for tonight? Or today, wherever you are?
Just a warning though, if I was your mentor, I would get you to do a presentation online. Not that I did that to Scott as we talked about it. He's like, I want this goal. I'm like, well, you know what? Let's practice. Let's get you up there.
Yes, I do not mind. In my current role, I do a lot of presentations, so
Okay.
I'm open to transferring my skills anytime. So.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Uma, let's connect on LinkedIn.
Sure, let's do that. Thank you.
That's a good point. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to connect. Be
Yep.
glad to do that.
Will do. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Greg, for the great presentation. Very informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. It was a lot of different takes of what a Scrum Master should expand vision and their Smurfs, right? And yeah, so I think that was good. That was a good way of saying, hey, it's not just the team and it's not just this little world. It's a lot of different things. So a lot of new Scrum Masters would benefit from watching your presentation and listen to what you had to say too.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
All right then. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank
All right.
you.
Scott, if you want, you can answer over me.